Four, three, two, one.
Welcome to the FisMaz Show. Obviously, it's been an exciting time. I've made a lot of announcements on social media with regards to the fact that something special is coming. And well, it's truly here. And I'm pretty excited about it because we're going to be talking about sport. That's my life. It's going to be the core foundation of this particular show. We're going to have some fun and also throw in a bit of lifestyle and music and different elements that we'll be bringing to the show, as well as top class guests who are sports mad entertainers. Sometimes we're going to have athletes, sometimes we're going to have legends of different sports. So all in all, it's going to be a really, really cool show that I think everyone will really enjoy. So, obviously from football mad entertainers, I don't want to name drop, I know a lot of people, but I don't want to name drop. I don't want to be that guy, but we're going to be having some really big names in South African music, in South African sport. They're going to be joining us on the show. And we've got some really entertaining things that I got lined up that will be coming up soon. So obviously the focus at the moment around the world is the Cricket World Cup. So that's one of the areas that I really specialize in, one of the areas I really enjoy. And I just had a look now on Crick Info, and I tell you what, times are tough. Times are tough out there in England. South Africa 133 for 5 at the moment against India. It's our third game, and things are not going well. And looking back at the start of the tournament, it hasn't really been an ideal one for South Africa. Maybe a little bit undercooked coming into this particular tournament, but there's still hope. We, as a nation, our sports mad nation, we always have hope when we love our team. So hopefully South Africa can come out and do something special here against the rest of the teams that they do have to play against. But it is going to be pretty tough for Faf du Plessis and his men in the World Cup. So a lot of doom and gloom for some fans. Some fans, the really diehard guys, the people that have a bit of passion, they're firmly behind the team and hoping that they can do something special. All 15 guys that are out there at the moment. But very sad, really, that one guy has had to fly back home, and that's Dale Steyn. He's been a massive part of South African cricket over the past 10 years or so. And what a special player, what a special person. And for Steyn to be ruled out of the World Cup, potentially, who knows, maybe end of his career in terms of white ball cricket. And very sad indeed, especially because South Africa lose a leader of the bowling attack. We've got young guys there, and Kagiso Rabada, he's 24 years old. We forget that. He's been around for so long. We forget that he's only just turned 24, and he's now becomes our senior fast bowler. Obviously, Buren Hendricks comes in. He hasn't played a lot of cricket at international level, a quality performer nonetheless, but we're hoping that he will be able to really step up to the plate and fill a void left by the mercurial Dale Steyn. So, well, let's see how South Africa does go there. And there's still plenty of sports around the world. Under 20 World Cup, we saw, unfortunately, Amachita couldn't really put on a top-class display there. And, the producer's got his phone here and is busy vibrating. Justin, come on, you got to wake up now. Justin was always trying to add value, but unfortunately, on this case, not his best moment. Oh, he's busy laughing off camera, yeah. But, great stuff. In terms of Under 20 World Cup, disappointing, because on one hand, on one hand, we've struggled to really qualify for major events. We've qualified for 2 back-to-back Under 20 World Cups, but it's not enough for South Africans. We are a sports mad nation. We have a lot of pride in our teams, and unfortunately, Amachita haven't really been able to kick on and do anything special at the World Cups for the last 2 years. So maybe Thabo Senong's reign will come to an end. Who knows? You can't really predict how things go at SAFA these days in terms of who comes and who goes and what's the criteria with regards to selecting coaches and selecting players. So plenty of drama regarding that, and that's one of the points we'll be touching on the coming show. So I don't want to dwell too much on that and the state of South African football. And another topic I want to focus on is the Women's World Cup, Banyana Banyana. Wow. If you speak about, maybe being disappointed by Bafana Bafana over the last, 20 years or so since that a historic victory at the Africa Cup of Nations in 1996. A team that has really risen, and we've seen, how with resources being plowed into the women's game, Banyana Banyana have been able to make themselves a real force in world football on the continent, and they're really now one of the very best around. And it's going to be interesting to see how they go about their business in France. They've been preparing well. They were out in America. They played against the USA, of course, one of the really strongest teams in women's football. And it was a really special showing for Desiree Ellis and her troops to get to the World Cup, and South Africa, they'll be firmly behind them through their journey. So obviously we'll be trying to follow up with regards to how they're doing, the mood in the camp. That's one of the journalists' favorite questions. You go to a press conference, how's the mood in the camp? Journalists, stop asking that question. No one knows what's the mood in camp. No one, yeah, I don't think people care much about what's the mood in the camp. You can kind of tell, if a team's winning, then the mood is good. If the team's playing badly, the mood is not great. So stop asking what's the mood in the camp. I mean, surely there's other questions you can ask. But anyway, each to their own. Keep doing your things, guys, and we won't judge you. But, let's focus back at home. Absa Premiership, what a season we had. Mamelodi Sundowns, I mean, I'm trying to take my hat off here. Hat off to Pitso Mosimane and Mamelodi Sundowns for the work they did. I mean, wow, to go out to Africa to get, sorry, I actually need to retract that because, we say go out to Africa as if we don't live in Africa, people will say, oh, we're going to go out to Africa. Well, newsflash, stop being an American and saying I'm going to Africa. No, we live in Africa. We all live in Africa. So just calm yourselves down. But, Sundowns have obviously gone to the CAF Champions League and have done a phenomenal job, to really progress the way they have and to do the amazing things. And on top of that, to come back home and to win the title. I mean, kudos to them and the work they've done on and off the field, their recruitment. I mean, you look at a guy like Sereno, Gaston Sereno, from Uruguay. I mean, who would have thought that Sundowns has a reach to go out to places like Uruguay to get players? I mean, before we've seen guys like Castro playing. He's a Colombian player. Guys that have genuinely come in and made an impact. So, I mean, kudos to them all round in terms of their business model and how they've gone about their business. Obviously, there's a bit of controversy because some people feel that Sundowns just buys the best players and sometimes they kill careers. But you got to go out there and you got to give it your best. And, competition is genuinely or generally very good for teams. So, yeah, I mean, Sundowns, I think they deserve all the credit. Orlando Pirates, you feel that the turning point maybe when that draw against Cape Town City in the penultimate round, it was a massive stage, and it didn't quite work out for Micho and his team, but no doubt he's brought the pride back to Orlando Pirates fans because you think 2 seasons back and you think about Mushini Esugal standing there, catch the ball! It was raining and it was 6 wide. I forgot what the score was, but they were playing Supersport United and wow, the coach resigned on live TV. He sent the email. Another coach came in, and they caught 6-0 against Mamelodi Sundowns. They cut the wires, and it was all happening for the coast. But Pirates are now firmly back in terms of the style of play, the good energy that they're playing with, and I think we're going to have a fascinating season next season. So, again, we're going to review that in the upcoming seasons, the transfers, the latest news with regards to that, what's the rumors, what's out there. Lots of players are free agents now. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. The Agents Corner, maybe that's going to be one of the segments we have. Who knows? We're going to keep you guessing. We're going to keep you guessing about what's to come. But it's going to be a fascinating ride indeed. I mean, obviously we talk about top flight football, and one of the most remarkable stories this season has been about Maritzburg United and how they went about their business. And look, they were dead and buried pretty much the entire season, and this is a team that finished in, I think, top 3 last season. So, I mean, they did a fantastic job under Fadlu Davids, and you look at how they went about their business this season. I mean, they didn't lose a hell of a lot of players. Bevan Franspon obviously went to Highlands Park, so that would have been a big loss for them in terms of a leader and a strong defender, but they still had Sianda Kulu, they had Onyango there, they had a really good keeper in Ofori in goal, so you would think that you've got the core of something special there. Keegan Buchanan came in from Kaizer Chiefs, unfortunately got injured, so he was a player who was going to make them tick. And geez, it couldn't have gone any worse for the team of choice. But I tell you what, it was a really special effort for them to once Eric Tinkler came on board. He came in and he brought a sense of calm after Mushini Esugal had come in, and it just didn't work. I mean, if you look actually at Mushini Esugal's last couple of jobs, it really hasn't worked for him, and he hasn't brought that magic that maybe he had in the past. That's another debate for another day in terms of, can coaches be past the sell-by date? Can coaches be done in terms of being able to bring out the best in players? So yeah, interesting one that. But I mean, back to Maritzburg United, what an effort for them to not only to get themselves into a playoff spot. but also 4 wins from 4, unprecedented in the playoffs in terms of obviously what they achieved there. And Eric Tinkler there, I mean, I happened to be out at the game in Maritzburg and covering that game, and I mean, he was still so angry when teams when his team wasn't doing certain things. Qualification was in the bag, by the way. Qualification is in the bag, but he wants to drum in that emphasis with regards to winning mentality. So whether you have nothing to play for, whether you have it all to play for, you still gotta go out there. You still gotta leave it all in the park, and you still gotta do amazing things. So that, I mean, we always say winning is a habit. So that's one of the habits that Eric Tinkler is really trying to bring into that team, and he's still demanding the very best for himself, for his team, and already prepping for next season, which is, again, I did allude to the fact that it's going to be a very, very fascinating one with all the teams recruiting well. So plenty to talk about in the upcoming episodes. I've got a legend that we've lined up. You know, he played for Kaiser Chiefs. He played for Orlando Pirates. I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to say his name, but all I'll tell you is he's got a very unique story. So one of the guys that we're going to be getting into the FisMaz Show over the next few weeks, and it's going to be a really exciting journey. Again, I have to give a big shout out to Podzilla Media. We've joined up with them with regards to obviously bringing you the FisMaz Show, and it's going to be a really remarkable journey. We're going to be looking to grow together as a collective and do special things with regards to the space of podcasting, and I'm really excited about it, you know, because, I mean, it's not because I like to hear the sound of my voice, you know, but for me, I've always been passionate about, you know, really bringing the best in terms of obviously sports knowledge and having fun while doing it, you know. So that's going to be one of the key elements of the FisMaz Show. It's going to be bringing guests in who are going to not only add value in terms of what we're going to be speaking about with regards to sports topics, but guys that we can have fun with, guys we can have a laugh with, you know, and really enjoy our discussions, you know, because at the end of the day, sports is something that not only, you know, brings out a lot of emotion, but it's also something that brings about incredible stories in terms of, you know, where people come from, you know. I mean, I look at a guy like, I'm going to drop his name in here because I really want him on the show, and sometimes people say that, you know, you need to throw it out into the universe, and hopefully something special will come about. But I make an example of a guy like Spusiso Zuma. You know, he played. I mean, he's from back home where I met, where I'm from in KZN. A guy who I've met, and a guy who I do have connections with. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to coerce him into coming onto the show. But I mean, I think about remarkable stories like those that people that have never. Maybe you've heard them in passing, but people that aren't really familiar with in terms of the extent of how great these guys performed on shores abroad, where perhaps we don't have access to have watched them on playing in their leagues. I look at a guy like Spusiso Zuma, who is an icon in Danish football. He's an icon at FC Copenhagen, a guy who walks out to the stadium and I mean, I saw a video recently on YouTube where you just heard the chants. And I mean, I'm talking about a guy who's now in his 40s. He hasn't played there for maybe the last, you know, 10, 12 years. I'm not sure the numbers there, so you'll forgive me if I'm wrong there, but he hasn't played there in a really long time. And a guy who walked out into the field, packed stadium, and all you heard was Zuma, Zuma, Zuma. Remarkable. I mean, that's one of the stories that we really need to hear about. I mean, that's one of the guys who was in the top 50 in the Ballon d'Or race, a guy who had an opportunity to perhaps play for Arsenal. So those are stories that I'd love to hear more about. I'm sure you guys would love to hear more about, because at the end of the day, you know, those are the stories that, you know, that give us those goosebumps that we really want, you know. And these are people who were heroes to us, you know. So I mean, that's just one out of plenty of South African sports legends who have gone on to do amazing things both locally and abroad. You know, you think of a guy like Teko Modise, recently retired. You know, a fantastic career. Many maybe think that he could have been one of the very best. You know, private life, this and that happening. You know, so all stories are unique. And we'll be looking to take you on that journey in terms of South African sports stories that are really were life changing for certain personalities, were life changing for people in South Africa. I'm not going to use that phrase of sports unites the country. No, that's overdone. Okay, but it's true. But we're not gonna bring that one up. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting journey on the FisMaz Show. I'm looking forward to it. I think I've spoken a lot today, and. You know, I don't know, has time flown, Justin? How much time has gone?
We've got about 10 minutes.
we've got about 10 minutes. So, I've been babbling on for 10 minutes, eh? That's not bad, eh? It's not bad. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's the intro to the FisMaz Show. It's going to be one hell of a journey. I'm really looking forward to it. And I hope that you're going to enjoy what we're going to be bringing to the table as FisMaz Show as well as Podzilla Media. And there's plenty more to come. My show won't be the only one on the stable. So, yeah, look out for them on social media. So, Podzilla Media. I'm going to keep repeating that and making sure that you guys are aware of exactly what is out there. And, yeah, watch this space. The FisMaz Show. It's Fiso signing out.